a workshop today. The board agreed it might be a nice idea to view some of our guild members' sewing places, large or small, doesn't matter. This is the first time our guild has done a studio tour of members' sewing and quilting rooms, and we're hoping that you will enjoy this program. It should last about 30 minutes, and then you're invited to stay and visit with other guild members after the meeting. And this program will be posted on our srqg.org website under blog. So as soon as it's available, Sharon Fry will allow you. She'll send you an email so that you'll know it's there. So sit back, take a sip, make sure you've got your candy. And our first Zoom tour is really special. This is Jean Chirhart's. So let's kick off our studio tour of members' sewing spots with a peek into Jean's sewing space, and we'll start the video in a few seconds.
I'm Jean Chirhart, and welcome to my room. This is my sewing room. It has tables and cabinets to store my stash. My husband, Mike, made all the furniture in here. And when I was planning on how to store them, I figured it would be very easy to bring down a shelf or a drawer so I could thumb through my different colors of reds or greens and purples and all that. And it was easy to store and up out of the way and fairly dust clean. The sewing machine table was made so that it could be folded up and made into a 2x4 table and moved out of the way if need be. Come over here, our cabinets underneath are sliding doors, and you can store some of my little sewing machines inside. My cutting table is such that it can be folded up also into a 2x4 by moving the legs in and the top folding down. I have developed this drawer that he created to hold my rulers in, so they're out of the way. And I have a slot here to put my mats when we have to fold up the table. My workspace is fairly open. However, you know, there's different times when you want to store certain projects, so I have created my project boxes. And a few times I have some bolts that I stash over here. In the window bench drawer, I stash some of my leftover batting and pattern fabric. And in my cupboard closet, I don't have right now, but I can have extra batting, and I've had rolls of the big batting in here and extra machines stored there. So I'm going to take you into another room right now and show you why it's set up the way it is. Pause. So my room is duplicated as a guest room, and behind my design wall is a Murphy bed, and as it's duplicate as to what's in this room. So when we go back in, I'll show you how creative we were in making a design wall. But in the meantime, this room doubles as an exercise room, but also as my long arm room. Are you gonna show them the long arm? So right now I have just laid out a top that I will be quilting for Community Quilts that Jan Westerman made. So pause. Room, my studio. As you can see, there's no solid wall to put a design wall. So what we came up with was a roll-up awning, basically. It is fastened down on the floor when I need to use it as a design wall. And otherwise, it rolls up into the cornice here like a outdoor awning might roll back in. And behind here is my Murphy bed and shelves. So this is my room, and this is how I function in it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean, for sharing your sewing spots with us. By the way, Jean was evacuated during the glass fire, so we're all thankful that her home was saved and her husband was willing to film her showing his beautiful handiwork, all of the cabinetry. So what'd you think about that? Wasn't it beautiful? Woo! 2 thumbs up. Our next presenter is Rhonda Denny. So we're going to take a look at Rhonda Denny's sewing space, and please run Rhonda's video. It'll take just a few seconds.
Good morning, Santa Rosa Quilt Guild. Thank you, Linda, for being here. I'm so excited to share with you my sewing room. I call it the nerve center of the house. I spend probably as much time in here as I do sleeping. And the main things I want to say about my sewing area is that I really insist on having good energy in here. If somebody's in a bad mood, I'm not having it. I like to be thoughtful and focused on my projects. And so I surround myself with beautiful things that help me think happy thoughts. And we'll just start right here with my wall of happiness. I don't update it as often as I would like to, but everything in here makes me very happy. And I see myself in a different light when I'm in here. I feel radiant, I feel love, I feel warm and lovely and so happy to be creating. Probably the most important thing I've learned about having inventory is a way to access it kind of like media, in that the way we used to stack our record albums or our file cabinets. So, and this is a rather poor example, but this is what that looks like. You put your fabric in as if it were a file folder, and that way when you go to remove something from your drawer, the contents of the drawer do not cascade and fall, well, all over the place. But I think you probably already know this about me. I can find order in chaos. So, well, it's picked up right now. It doesn't usually look like this. I want to give a couple of shout outs to, and Linda, thank you for backing up. This one is for Debbie Cole. Debbie Cole, this is a part of the challenge, a quilt that's not a quilt. And I will be sending Linda the picture of the quilt before I cut it up. I believe the quilt came from Christy Detweiler. And these are 50 cats I've made for Snap Cats at the director's request. These are going to be little gifties, holiday gifties for the volunteers. And so they have a little ribbon that says Snap Cats, and they have a little pocket in the back that's going to house a organic catnip pillow. And I've made 50. And each one is more adorable than the last. And also I made this fantastic bag. It's kind of like a carpet bag, or a market bag, but that's what I did with the quilt that's not a quilt. So thank you, Debbie. And Nolan, this is the next quilt for Snap Cats. Sue Lynn sent me Jason Yeager's places where I could find it. This one's called Cosmos, and you have to know I'm over the moon about this one. Thank you, Sue Lynn. And more inspiration. And I think that's it. Thank you for indulging me. Peace.
Thank you, Rhonda, for allowing us to venture into your sewing space to where your fabulous quilts get their inspiration and see your storage tricks and tips. That was wonderful. And thank you, Linda Hooper, for videotaping Rhonda for us. And don't forget, Debbie Ferris Cole's challenge for the guilt is something quilted that's not a quilt. So those Snap Cats are just perfect for that. Marian Drain and friends have a 3-minute video next. How many of you have ever been on a quilting retreat? You know, you can create your own quilting retreat with just a couple or a few friends, COVID-19 style. So you could stay isolated for a few months before the retreat, arrive at the retreat and sanitize everything that was previously sanitized, set up your sewing area 6 feet apart, use paper plates, cups, wash and sanitize your hands frequently, and sew away. You can even do it in your pajamas all day long. So Anne, please run the video from Bernie Falls. Well, I am at Camp Britton up in Bernie Falls, and I wanted to show you what it's like to have a retreat. So please tell us a little about yourself and what you're working on.
Hi, I'm Mike, and I'm working on a quilt for my granddaughter. She loves the macabre, and so we're doing ghastlies and trying to make it feminine for her. It will be a queen-size quilt for her.
And where are you from?
Carson City, Nevada.
Yay, Nevada. Next is Sharon. Sharon, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Sharon, I'm from Bernie, and this is my sunflower quilt, and I'm making it bigger with checkerboard, and
And you're having a good time.
I'm having a good time.
You can see we've got these sewing machines cleverly placed so we're all 6 feet apart. This is Tess. Tell us where you're from, what you're up to.
I live in Old Station, which is about a half hour from here, and I'm taking a block of the month class on paper piecing and building your own quilt. And I made teapots and things, and I love paper piecing. And I love this. This is fun. I don't have to make everything really perfect, so I like it.
Perfect. You do notice that half of them are in their pajamas, but this is what it looks like to go on a retreat and have nice crowded spot. We've got a special studio room set up in the back. This is one of our own, Marian Drain. Marian, tell us about
Welcome to
yourself.
my little home. This is the sweet spot. This is the sewing suite. So we've got double tables, and they're raised up on raisers so we don't hurt our old backs. We have a million rulers that we'll never use while we're here, but you have to have them anyway.
And then I'm working on a mystery quilt, and I'm just finishing up a raw edge applique piece, a blue heron for my wall at home.
He is just beautiful, and
Is he
he's all
handsome?
little pieces. He's not a picture that she cut out.
Now he's pretty handsome.
Thank you,
You're
Marian.
welcome.
And I'll turn around and show you. This cabin has a restroom, but it's close quarters. Everybody has beds, and they like to imbibe a little bit too.
Hello.
So what do you say to the Santa Rosa Quilt Guild? What do you say?
Woohoo! Happy sewing, Santa Rosa.
Woohoo!
Thank you, ladies, for letting me barge in.
You're welcome.
Did you notice they allow adult beverages there? And they stay in their pajamas almost all day long. It's really fun. And Nolan told me a story about a retreat she and Chris attended. A couple of the ladies were a bit disappointed as they love sewing in their pajamas, and they could not do so with Chris there. They were glad he attended the retreat, but they were not aware that he was going to be there, and they'd brought all these fancy pajamas to wear during the day, and now what do you do? So anyway, the pajama idea vanished quickly at that retreat. But thank you, Marian Drain, for letting us barge in on your one cabin retreat. Okay, Colleen Vandekratz is next. She moved to Tennessee a couple years ago. She used to be a member of our guild, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's Murfreesboro, and she's in Smyrna, but Murfreesboro is the closest big town. And so I contacted her, and she said she misses us all so much. And I said, would you be interested in giving us a tour of your sewing room? She's got quite a large sewing room. I believe it's right above the garage, so it's pretty good size, but it's got some nice roof lines that come down. I think you're gonna love it. But she misses all of her quilty friends a lot. So let's see Colleen's sewing room, Ann.
Hi, Santa Rosa Quilt Guild. It's been a long time. Welcome to my quilt room. Janelle had asked me if I'd want to participate in this little video thing you guys are doing, showing where you store your fabric and how you store your fabric, and just see all our different sewing rooms. So welcome, come on in. Ron, why don't you scan to that little quilt there? That's one of the first things I did, you guys, with you as guild members. Has a special place in my heart. Anyway, yeah, so over here, 2.5 inch squares and my 5-inch squares that I've cut, you know, just scrap fabric over time. Then we have the catch-all table, just, you know, a holding place. I'm sure you all have them. I'm working on getting ready to quilt this table runner for a friend of mine. I have all my rulers and whatnot, just everything I would need to use at the cutting table right here. And then over here, I have other materials I'd need to do special things with sewing and quilting and whatnot. This is awesome. It's fabric and patterns that I'm gonna do someday. I don't know when, but I'm gonna do someday. So fat quarters here, my ironing board. And here is my lovely koala table that bought in California and brought with me out here. I have a new machine. I've been working on the Viking, golly, can't remember, but I'm using the Viking Epic 980Q now. I'm waiting for the insert tray from Koala to make it all complete so I can really get going on this. And I'm trying to teach myself as I go along here.
videos and YouTubes and whatnot. So we have over here my yardage fabric by color, and that's just really helpful for me to keep track. Over here I've got, in this old hutch I bought, I've got jelly rolls and batiks, some solid fat quarters, and then all my holiday fabric down there. And it's been a really helpful storage place. And then finally I have this little bookshelf that I took the doors off, and that holds all my pattern books, my magazines, and some more fat quarters, as you can see. And then yeah, so I'm really blessed to have this size room in here. Sometimes I get too much junk out and it gets a little overwhelming, so I have to reel it back in, but I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Thank you so much. Good to see you all. Bye.
Thank you, Colleen. It was really nice seeing you. And Colleen is planning to come out. She was planning to come out like in July, August, or September this year, but with all the fires, she's decided to wait and come out next year. So if she comes out, for those of you who want to come and say hi, we'll just do an open house or something for her. And I want to thank Ron for filming it. I just love it when all of a sudden you say, can you move the camera over there? You know, I get a kick out of that. Trying to direct husbands isn't always fun. It's kind of like directing cats. Anyway, that was fabulous, and I really appreciate it, especially coming all the way from Smyrna, Tennessee. Elaine Tucker added a sewing room onto her home, and she's thrilled with it. Let's see how she set up her sewing room. So take it away, Anne. Good time to take a sip.
Hi, this is Elaine Tucker, and welcome to my quilt room, my studio. Our house is rather small, and it has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and I had no guest room because I had a sewing room and a quilting room. So in 2007, we decided to add a sunroom on the north side of the house and make it our studio. This first part goes into our house, and from here, this room, we've actually kind of walled off a little bit with a design wall, an area that we can sit in. We've very multi-purpose. The grandkids eat dinner there, and we've used it as a guest bedroom when we had our family here during the first fires. And so my husband uses it to work on his fishing gear, so this isn't entirely all mine. I needed to have room for a long arm, and my sewing room, the cutting table that I just went by, my serger, and in the winter time, this is our fireplace, and I can have it on without heat, and I can have it on with heat, and it keeps the little room very tidy, nice. The room is 30 by 16. I have Alex drawers from IKEA to keep my thread, and I have it divided up with serger thread, quilting thread, and then my quilting rulers and other things that I use. In the last drawer, I keep my extra sewing machines in their cases there. The only thing I don't have is room to actually put my cabinet out with the quilt table part. I can't move my quilt machine, it's not on wheels, and so I'd have to do some pretty big maneuvering to get that out to turn it around so I could have that open. But it doesn't really bother me since I don't quilt at that machine. I have an ironing table that is over top of a cabinet that is just perfect for all kinds of storage of things. The lighting system I have is put out by Grace Lights, but Handy Quilter has it as well now, and it works quite well. My design wall is foam core board covered with batting, and this is the next project. It's a community quilt made by Laura Barrett, and that is a quilt, also a community quilt that was contributed by someone to Pam Beebe, as is the one with the stars. And these plus the one I have on the machine are all going to a family in Oregon that burned and lost everything in the Phoenix fire. And I committed to that before we had our local fires here. That is Persephone. Persephone is the goddess of spring, and that was done for me by an artist in Italy. I sold her house in Mendocino, and she graciously gifted me a beautiful silkscreen. When we put the room in, I needed a sink because I do fabric dyeing and painting and all kinds of things, so we added a sink and cabinets underneath that, and I use it quite often, and I'm very, very happy to have it here. This is the machine. This is the quilt I have on now. The family that burned have an 8-year-old autistic boy, and he lost all of his dinosaurs, and so I'm making him a dinosaur quilt, also making him a couple dinosaur masks. This is my machine. It has a Pro Stitcher on it, which is digitized, and I absolutely love it. I keep my batting on a roll under the table. I have projects in bins all over the place, like everyone else, I'm sure. Up there. This is handy for me to keep my rulers, my extra feet, my extra thread, and it's just so handy to be able to turn my back and from when I'm quilting. I have this cabinet, also IKEA, that I keep. I wanted my embroidery stabilizers out of the sun, and I wanted a place that I could hang some of the quilt things that are in progress. More bins, more projects. I keep the afternoon, the curtains closed in the afternoon here because it does get pretty warm in the summer. And that is my quilt room.
Thank you, Elaine. Wasn't that fabulous? I just love seeing all the ways people are being creative and storing their fabrics. But I always giggle at the projects because we always have a whole stack of project boxes, things that we have going or we plan to do. But thank you, that was really a great video too. Our last tour is pretty spooky. It's Jan Andrews's Spooky Hollow. Halloween is upon us, and let's see Jan. And you can all have candy too. Getting in Halloween spirit.
Hi, I'm Jan Andrews. Wait, I'm Jan Andrews, and I'm about to take you into the scariest and happiest place on earth, my sewing room. This is my witch that I made in Betty's workshop a couple of years ago. She sits on the door to let everybody know, enter at your own risk. My sewing room has a name. I call it the Witch's Closet. You'll see why in just a moment. The Witch's Closet is a happy place where it's Halloween all year long. That is a quilt given to me by Betty Upchurch, and I love it very much. My IKEA ironing table I assembled myself, and it also stashes, see those brown bins? They're full of Halloween fabric, to the surprise of no one. This scary little corner holds my guild stuff, including all the membership things that we can't store anymore. There's my clock. His name is Franklin. That enamel bin is full of bindings, which tells you something. Ann Nolan gave me that witch pillow. And I have tea, if you'd like it, with Witch's Brew mugs. This is one of my favorite things. It's my thrift store $6 lamp. And I was going to put crystals on it and bling it up, but then I went on Etsy and found articulated skeletons. So, you know, what else could I do? I've got projects in those totes. And this is my sewing table made by the Arrow Company. I purchased it at Village and I assembled it myself. The cool thing about it is that you can, when you take the machine out, the little platform comes up and there's a crank on the other side, and I can raise and lower it as much as I want to make it the perfect height for cutting or basting. And the top rotates so that it's rotates 90 degrees. You can slide it up against the wall, and a queen size blow-up bed will fit in here, which is really nice when the kids manage to get here in normal times. There's my sewing machine, Dr. J, Janome 6700. I've owned sewing machines for 50 years, and this is the greatest sewing machine I've ever had. I'm not affiliated with Janome, just a really happy customer. Her name is Dr. J after my sister, Dr. Janelle McAllister, who taught me how to sew when I was about 13. It wasn't easy. It was like going to boot camp, but I have been forever grateful to her for giving me the gift that has lasted my entire life. So I named my sewing machine after her. There's my ironing station, a couple of my little storage things. My witch, storage, kits, books, you name it. Here are my trick-or-treat pictures. This is my granddaughter, Madalena, who is now 4. I made the hat. I didn't make the bunny costume because she was supposed to be Raggedy Ann and that burned up. I did those costumes, and I did hers and I bought his for Jessie and the T-Rex last year. This year, they're going to be Tinkerbell and Peter Pan, almost done. Up above, we got my daughter, Kate, and then Daniel came along, Inspector Gadget and herself, the elf, and my grandson, Benjamin, and my daughter and her husband, baby Alex, and more pictures of the boys, a gift from my sister, a hat tip to the San Joaquin Valley, where we grew up, Weasley and Potta, flamingos, and red lobsters. And yes, they and a crew of about 6 other boys went to Red Lobster for lunch, dressed like that. On my design wall are 2 blocks from a tattoo quilt I'm working on using Tula Pink handmade fabrics, and a sew-a-row, costumes, my latest English paper pieced project, which is the ice cream soda quilt. And I'm about, oh, I don't know, 15% of the way through those blocks. And my favorite quilt, the Mischief Quilt, designed by Karen Tripp of the DIY Addict. This is English paper pieced, all in Halloween fabrics. And I started it in January of 2018. I finished assembling it, I think in July or August. And I sent it to my friend Kat McCarty in Ohio. Some of you know her from Retreat. And she worked her old cat magic. And I wanted to share the label with you. Mischief Managed is what I call it. And that seems like a fitting way to say goodbye. We have our mischief managed. Thank you for coming into my sewing room. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jan, for allowing us into your witch's closet. It's fabulous. Jan was evacuated in the glass fire, but the fire stayed far away. That was great, but she had lost her home in the 2017 fire. So this was her new home you were viewing. Thanks again to everybody who made this program possible and to all of our participants. This concludes our program, but you're welcome to stay online and visit with Guild members for about 20 minutes. And if you like this, please let us know, because it would be kind of fun to do one or two. I see one hand going up. I see Sharon's. It might be fun to do one or two after each of our normal business meetings, the first meeting of the month. So please let us know what you think and have a great day. And I'm getting my hair done today. I can't wait.
Thanks, Janelle.
Welcome.
Thanks, Janelle.
Yeah, thank you, Janelle. And
And
lovely
thank
to see
everybody else.
everybody.
Let's do this again.
Are you?
Okay. It was great.
That was really fun.
And a big shout out to Ann Nolan and Linda Hooper for, putting everything in the way it needed to be in order to be able to have it today.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job, lady.
Very inspirational.
Yeah.
I've watched these videos at least 3 times, some of them 4, and each time I watch them, I get a bigger kick out of them because there's things you don't see the first couple of times you watch it. So as soon as it's posted, I would recommend going there and watching it again, and you'll see a totally different, oh, I don't remember that, or I don't remember that. And it's really fun. I picked up a lot of good tips. Now the hard part is trying to make it work in here.
Yes.